So Jade, welcome here to INKISH.
Thank you. Thank you
Really
for having
good
me.
to see you, and congratulations on your new title as Managing Director.
Thank you, Morten.
So, did you apply for the job or was it just an announcement?
No, I didn't apply for the job. Yes, I suppose it was an announcement of sorts. And I think following Lisa Melbourne, who was the previous managing director, we've kind of realized that the role requires somebody who really knows the job inside out from the ground up. And similarly to Lisa, we've kind of grown up with Label Expo and pretty much know every aspect of the business. So yes, it's fallen upon me to take Label Expo to the next chapter.
As we spoke about before the camera was turned on, the journey of Label Expo, also you being part of it for 20 years. Do you remember the first day you came to office?
Yes, I did. I do. It was, I started in the company and pretty much we went to Label Expo Americas in 2004. And that was my first experience of an exhibition on site. And
Any exhibition or just
an exhibition?
Okay.
An exhibition.
Fantastic.
And I was really blown away by the industry. You know how I guess when you don't know about the label printing industry, you just don't know what goes behind, a label, what goes behind the production of a label.
Yeah, because when we go into the supermarket as a consumer, you buy it because you get the information or you are attracted to the design or you know the product. But as you know from coming behind the scene, it's a lot of technology and investments.
Absolutely,
right?
And something we just take for granted and we pretty much throw away, in a matter of seconds. I think all the functionality and creativity in one little thing, it really fascinated me. And I'm hooked, I didn't think I was that big of a nerd, but I am, turns out.
So when you say nerd, I think that for people in the industry, I think that's actually a very positive
no,
word.
it's a positive thing.
That's what I take it like. I was just thinking that when being a nerd is, and also being on the exhibition side, does it mean that you have also spent time on understanding the technology and the process, and not just the sales of exhibition space? Or
yeah, I think to really be good at our jobs, we kind of need to understand the products that our customers are selling and why they need to market it in a certain way. So absolutely it's important. There is no way I know anywhere close to our editorial team, but I know enough, to kind of understand it.
So when you go at the show floor, like here at Label Expo, you do know what is happening and what the technology basically provides.
Yeah, and I'm very, I'm very open to learning. If I don't know something,
you just ask, right?
There's no shame in it because the technology is mind-blowing sometimes, and I definitely need it to be explained to me 3 times at least. So, but I find that fascinating, really do.
So you do remember the first day you got to the office. That is good because it's only 19 years, right? So you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
So in the time that led into being part of the Tarsus, I guess there's like at some point it is like kind of a turning point where you say that okay, this is an industry I want to pursue in, or it is an industry that I need to leave from. Was that like kind of a breaking point for you where you said that this is where I want to be?
I think I was just learning so much, and at that point, Label Expo only had 3 shows. We had Label Expo Europe, Americas.
It was much easier then, right?
Yeah, in Asia. We were just a small team, and the industry was just beginning to grow and really, expand. And I think it was the right place, right time. It was very exciting. So many markets to explore, not just geographically, but within each vertical. And we were given the space to kind of really talk to clients, really get out there and explore. And I love traveling and I love different cultures. And I think, that I love this industry because we're global and we're massive, yet we're cozy and close-knit. So you don't get that very often. And that's what we got. And I was just hooked,
And I was just about to say, because in your role, both as the managing director, but also in your previous roles, traveling is one thing. Is of course you have the trade shows at these different locations, but you have customers from everywhere, and I guess that sometimes you also go and visit customers, right?
Oh, we do. We visit customers globally, and there's nothing like really seeing them where they work, where the technology is born in their R&D rooms and things like that. that you really understand the ethos of a company, and you also kind of understand, if you see lots of people within a certain vertical, you kind of get a gist of what, they are like, and you need that, to really kind of provide a platform that works for them. So, yeah.
So what do you think, if you look at, let's say, not the products, not the people in the companies, but more like, what is the biggest difference from a trade show 20 years ago compared to today?
It is so complex today. I think post-COVID, there's been massive shifts. I mean, never mind like supply chain issues, just just inflation, just how expensive things are, logistics, just raw materials, just to build a stand, and everyone is thinking about sustainability, and that is hugely important. So it's not easy to exhibit anymore. And I think only the best platforms are surviving, and Label Expo is fortunate enough to be one of those platforms. And it's absolutely my responsibility to make sure that we are, relevant and efficient, absolutely useful for the industry. So in that sense, it's a lot different in that in the earlier years, I mean, the marketing budgets were, it's kind of not changed. Inflation hasn't brought the marketing budgets, it hasn't gone up with inflation.
Yeah.
It's pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah. I was just thinking, because when you say about, let's say, inflation and logistics and things like that, does that mean that when you talk to customers, they are maybe a little bit more reluctant to make the investments because also the ROI and the value? I mean, because as you say, post-COVID, one of the things that we have been writing about in INKISH is like, okay, if the exhibitions doesn't, let's say, evolve into where the customers are today, then they become obsolete, right? I think that you have a proof here at Label Expo Brussels that you have managed to make something that seems to be extremely valuable, because there's a lot of visitors, a lot of exhibitors. But I mean, do you get my point?
I do. I mean, and that's why Label Expo is so special, and I think that's why I've stayed for so long. It's not just a show. I've been to many expos, and I mean, of course I say it, but that's why I'm here at this show. Label Expo is a different animal. It hits so many needs. It's not only a point of networking for the entire industry. It is where people learn, people kind of, I mean,
the networking
Morten.
Thing, of course.
Yes,
right?
and it's also where collaboration's born. Like people come together and they chat, and ideas are created on how to create efficiencies, and like the automation arena that we see downstairs. I mean, even Merton Labels that that won the award last night. That's all through collaboration. That was kind of born at Label Expo. A lot of people tell me, "Oh, do you remember that Label Expo when we had that chat?" And also I won't name names, but I've just been speaking to a finishing equipment supplier, and they've seen a lot of operators on the show floor.
Oh, okay, so that broadens
it's a
also
training ground.
Yeah. Okay, so that basically means that the converters bring on some of the staff to learn from the equipment before they actually invest.
Yes.
Okay,
and throughout COVID, everyone had like all these virtual kind of little.
We really tried all of us.
They
right?
really tried everything, and hats off to them, because you've got to. But the reality is, some people did buy equipment through virtually, and in reality, it's not as user-friendly as they had hoped. And actually, this show, so many people have told me that they've brought their operators en masse to try out all the machines, because nothing beats IRL. Nothing beats real life.
Yeah.
And and there's just so many reasons why the show is so relevant and so important for everyone.
When you get back from Brussels and Monday morning the alarm clock is ringing, will it be some kind of anticlimax, or you're already on the next one?
I'm already on the next one. Label Expo Asia's hot on its heels. That's in December, and then we've got GPP in January. We've got our first summit in Bogota. And then, so many. It just keeps going.
So do you have time to appreciate, I mean, what you just spoke about with the Label Expo and the feedback you have got? Do you ever have time to sit down and, oh, this was good, and recognize the team for the effort, and or does it just become like business as usual? Or
I think we had Label Expo Southeast Asia in Bangkok in February.
Were there?
Yes. and then Mexico literally 2 months later, and then Europe straight after. In many ways, we're so conditioned in just moving on with the next. We always have a team debrief. We always try to improve on, we learn some lessons and we try to kind of act on them. And actually, for the first time ever on the Label Expo Europe show floor, we are employing some consultants on site to a third party to conduct interviews, and then we're having like post-show, very deep surveys.
Is that the first time you do that?
I mean, first time an external. External group.
Because I know that you've done it internally.
We always do it internally. But this time I think it's really interesting to get external professionals who do this professionally and ask questions in a way that is, kind of very open, so that, we can funnel in all kinds of, and they're a bit more open and honest if it's not someone from the team, I think. And we really want to fine tune anything we possibly can to make Label Expo the best platform it can possibly be. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what the findings from this survey is for Label Expo. So that's all I'll be doing Monday morning, unfortunately, Morten. Yeah, back to work.
But not 6:30, right?
Not 6:30.
No,
I'm going to give myself an 8:30.
Yeah, I thought so. So when you're not working, who are you? What do you spend your time on?
I spend a lot of time with my kids because I travel a lot and I don't really get to see them. Friends, go to the beach a lot because I live by the beach.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I do a bit of gardening because I think I'm entering that stage in my life where I think you just have to do some weeding at the weekend because I've got a bigger garden. Crazy stuff like that. But I love music. I go to a lot of concerts. I think we need to kind of...
What kind of music do you like?
There's no kind of music I don't like, I have to say, except country and western.
Okay, that's not really you.
No, it's not really me. I've tried, but but really all kinds of music, love it. Yeah.
I mean, everything around you, from besides the work, how important is that in order to define you as a person?
How important is...
I mean, everything around you, besides the work, how important is that in defining who Jade is?
Right. I mean, I think having a very good home life and a very good social life actually makes me cope with work life very, very well. Yeah. You absolutely have to have a very good work-life balance to do this crazy job because it is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It's rewarding, but it is full on. Yeah.
And talking about work-life balance, is that something that you care much about, or is work almost part of all hours a day?
I mean, on the run-up to Europe, I'm not going to lie, I have no outside life other than work life. But I know that it goes back to normal, to some form of normality after Europe. And that's part of the job, and I love my job.
And you've been here, so you know it, of course.
Yeah.
And talking about that, I was just wondering, would you consider yourself a career person?
I never really have. I'm a consummate professional, for sure. Am I a career person? I suppose I am.
You like to be on the winning team, right? I mean, so you have some kind of competitiveness in you as well, right? I mean, as you said, Label Expo and Tarsus is the survivors of whatever war is going on, right?
Yeah, I don't know about the word winning, but I definitely want to be the very best that we can be. I think that's massively important, to have integrity in what you do and kind of say what you mean what you say. And if we go out there and say, we're the best show, we're going to give you the best that we can, I absolutely want to stand by that. And if that means winning, then yes.
I think it is a winning mentality. I mean, just imagine the opposite. I mean, it would be strange to go to work and say, yeah, well, maybe we win, maybe we lose, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
So, of course, all the shows are tremendously important as part of your work. I mean, if you want to, let's say, pinpoint 2-3 things you want to really improve on a show with your name on it, what should that be? Could we ask for faster internet?
Yes, you absolutely can. That's why we're moving to the Fira in Barcelona.
Oh, I'm so happy about that.
Yes, the Wi-Fi connection there is, I mean, I'm not going to start giving you stats, but it's a lot better.
I mean, we live in a world that is so dependent on it, right?
Yes. And I mean, when you think about all the technology that they want to showcase on the show floor, they will have more and more automation, and that is absolutely necessary. And it's all the factors that led to us realizing that we have to go somewhere else that really supports the growth of Label Expo. If we're serious.
So that was one.
That was
Two
one.
more to go. What is on your wish list? More exhibitors or the same number or size?
You know, we've got a lot of exhibitors. But yes, of course, more exhibitors. But I think I want more. I want more education.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because I mean, compared to some of your competitor shows, they have like real venues for education. That is not part of the Label Expo in the same sense, right?
Yes, in
I mean,
a way.
of course, you have the automation arena, but it's a kind of a different thing, right?
It's very different because Label Expo, a lot of action happens on site. And we have tried it so many times, and you do find that people want to be on the show floor because
that's where they learn as well, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
So it's about finding that happy medium that satisfies both. And actually, the automation arena is that from the surveys that we've got. But you know, the new surveys that we're kind of conducting, that will tell us a little bit more. Yeah. Hopefully, it supports what we all think. But you know, I want to be absolutely sure.
You don't know yet, right? Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I kind of want to make it a lot more digestible. So maybe some form of education online. But
it's funny you mentioned that, because I can tell you some of the things that we are working on is that, you know, when you have a venue where you can maybe attract 50 or 100 people, that is of course fine. But if you could turn the entire program into something that is very suitable for a film format, of course, right?
Yeah.
Then it can actually have a much broader reach. And I think that this omni-channel using different media is basically becoming more and more important, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I suppose you were asking me about things I want to change.
Or add.
I mean, I think it's more of what I would like, the vision I have for Label Expo under my stewardship, if you could call it that.
I can call it that.
Yeah, I would like, when anyone mentions the word Label Expo in the industry, I want everyone to think, you know what, that's the place I go to. It's a no-brainer. If I want to market my products, if I want to learn, if I want to meet the best people, I want it to be synonymous with quality and, you know, a guaranteed return on your time, on your everything. You know, that it's such a worthwhile thing to do, and that's just what I want for all the shows within our portfolio.
I can tell you one thing that is not a surprise to me, but maybe something that is worth considering, which is probably the impossible thing. And that is, like, you see more and more partnerships among your exhibitors. And then sometimes when you have to run from one hall to another hall to actually see that collaboration, I think that in the future it could be super nice to have more.
I know what you mean.
I have no idea how it should be
a demo
done,
schedule. Yes.
No, not just a demo schedule, but even, like, you know, that they have a proximity to each other. So that is, I take that the floor planning is one of the biggest hurdles organizing a show. Like, but it's just like something that I think that, you know, when you have. You have, for example, the Print City here, which is already a group of people working together. But if they had like full-scale booth that was spread out across the whole expo center, then it would take a long time for people to actually understand that, right? So I just thought that is something that would, from a visitor perspective, be really nice to see.
It would. I mean, it is a nightmare to organize the floor plans because there are certain clients don't want to be next to certain people, and you know that has to come first as a priority.
Early, right?
Yeah, it does. But
2 shows before, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, it's something that we can work towards.
Yeah. That's just my personal thing. You talk to your exhibitors, but I can just see there more and more partnerships, and that is like why I was just thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely working at making the experience for our visitors more easy. I want Label Expo to be an easy show to enjoy. Like, you know, to everything's easily digestible. You're comfortable. Therefore, we're escaping from poorly ventilated areas. You know,
Fantastic, Jade.
Thank you, Morten.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
You too.